Okay, recording again. All right, so Philippe Starck. Here's the Louis Ghost. Well, this is so he's contemporary. He's still around, um, but this is a pretty good example of something that I guess I would still call it postmodern. A lot of styles will still hang around at this point. Um, I think you know the idea of something that's postmodern um, doesn't necessarily have to belong to the 1980s. So here you have your solid plastic, clear. Ooh. So a lot of that's modern design has a lot to do with modern material. So the and some of these other pieces of his also using plastic. But coming up with a new idea in
The wheelchair.
furniture is kind of tough. What's that?
Oh, I was just saying I like that one too. I like acrylic furniture, so I was
Oh yeah,
that's why I asked this question. But that chair is cool.
yeah. Well, it's I think the yeah, acrylic furniture really was like 60s and 70s. I think people really started to explore the possibilities with it. Speaking of the 70s, so the 70s interior design um, was, I don't know. I guess you could say there's a lot going on with interior design in the 70s, and a lot of it had, as far from what I can see, there's a lot of mixing of different kinds of, I guess, surfaces or even moods. Like the, you know, you have this like modern furniture with like a plastic frame and foam cushions, this like heavy pile area carpet, shag or sculpted, uh, lots of plastic furniture, but then this like wooden furniture with the caning, with like the caning on the seat. Um, there's sort of this combination, like there's formica. Down here you can see like this sort of like, like a rough sawn siding that's painted beige. And then in here it's kept its natural color. Um, the mural, the sort of like photo mural wallpaper, I remember that stuff. Um, and of course, there's a Barcelona chair, which sort of like fits any modern interior. But this interesting geometry. Um, but I guess this sort of like rustic, saturated colors, and then you get these like little bits of like chrome or like acrylic or glass. It looks like it's a glass top on an acrylic cube. Owls. Don't forget the owls. Owl accents were, for some reason, um, extraordinarily popular. Here, yeah. So there's some other good images of what 70s interiors did. This like really chunky, um, so like almost like this sort of like chunky rustic, almost like country furniture. The wicker lamp, and a lot of it really was like hippie style that became. This is a little too modern. That's way too. That's way too light to be there. Paneling that looks like it's that all looks like it's new, but here I know that's vintage. Nice, huh? Yeah. So those big shag area carpets. Here's these tables I mentioned over to the right here. A smaller top, larger lower section. Yeah. So rough, like a lot of like really rough surfaces. The the rules of modernism would have forbidden you to do all of these things.
Is that a light fixture over to the left?
What's that?
Is that a light fixture
Yes,
there?
it's a pendant fixture hanging from above.
Oh, cool.
So that's in the foreground. Yeah. So yeah, like metallic surfaces combined with rustic like stone and wood, more like saturated color in furnishings, heavy pile shag carpet. Some of this really kind of like bland, weird. I don't even know what that is. Yeah. So it really kind of like was, there were so many rules, and then a lot of people decided, well, we're going to break the rules, and we're going to break all of them at the same time in the same place. And, this sort of like collage element is almost Victorian in a way where you could just choose, like, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this, and it's all going in here. And it looks cool. So like hippie culture, psychedelic drug culture, all of that stuff was, counterculture was meant to separate itself from the previous generation. And that's pretty normal. So, and it was excessive, it's kind of like, the way Rococo and Baroque were excessive and led to a more calm, or I guess maybe what was considered to be more rational neoclassicism. And the Art Nouveau and Art Deco, those things were very either like just like very busy and elaborate, and so the modernism of the 20s was really a desire to calm that stuff down. So I just want to take a little bit of time to look at, like show you that Philippe Starck and a little bit of some of the 70s stuff. Do any of you have any experience with like these classic 70s interiors?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and how so?
Growing up in a house with orange or rust-colored carpet,
Mm.
and so in the 70s, and I remember being really embarrassed of it when it was still there in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I remember we had like sculpted like carpet, and it was all like different rooms had different colors of carpeting, um, and and it was fun. I thought it was really pretty great. I'll show you this. Like this is how I know I was there. That's my stepdad. But look at all that wood and the plants just like everywhere. This whole wall was just like shelves of books with the wood paneling and all these plants on the countertop. Um, and I remember like these like lower cabinets just stuffed with I think it was magazines my mom was saving. But this photo is from 1979, getting ready to go to the freshman dance in high school.
Woohoo.
Yes, but
Yeah,
it's
our
funny.
house,
What's that?
oh yeah, our house had some nice wood paneling too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the house that I grew up in, my parents still live there. They have wood paneling on the walls in the living room still.
Yeah, it was a thing. Um, yeah. I mean, part of it, I'm sure, had something to do with, it's like you don't have to paint it. It's easy. Just slap this over the wall and then forget about it. Um, but there also was this, desire for something warmer and more natural in an interior, and that's something that modernism really took away. If you were like dealing with really like the high modernism, um, that warmth from natural materials, everything got so industrial, especially after World War II, that this it was missed. So and by the way, everybody dressed this way when they dressed up. So I didn't really notice until later. Like that looks weird. But yeah, the collar all the way out to the end of your shoulders was pretty slick. I'm glad I have this photo, so I never have to dress that way ever again.
Well, it's okay. It's fashion. It comes and goes. So
So,
something that we think of
yes,
fashionable now in 20 years, our kids will say, "Well, that looks weird."
yeah,
So,
that's true. It is. It does change. Um, yes, and
I think it looks cool.
it's fun to have it because it is cool, um, and you'll notice like you can like I think maybe there's an earlobe down in there, but you did not want your ears showing. Your hair had to cover your ears. And I remember this furniture. It's like wooden frame with just these like loose cushions that were just dropped on it. It was not really that comfortable. All right, that's enough of that. I'm fully nostalgized. Okay, that's going to be enough for tonight. Next week we will have our the last lecture meeting, and I will talk about some more current trends. I think I'm going to talk about some people like Frank Gehry, um, and maybe get you some information about Zaha Hadid. Um, she was the first woman to win the Pritzker Prize for Architecture, which is kind of like their Pulitzer or um, Nobel or something like that. Okay. Any questions before we stop?
Nope.
No, not really.
All righty. I will see you next week.
See you next week. Have a good one.
Good night.
Sure.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.